What's up? My name is Colby, fifth grade teacher in Michigan, and welcome to my channel where we try to help kids fall in love with reading. One way that we do that is by talking about amazing books, because the power of a book, the amazingness of a story can often lead to kids taking that leap as readers and developing a passion for reading the rest of their life. I've been nominating books on this channel for sharing my favorite books of the year, my favorite middle grade books, my favorite picture books, my favorite nonfiction books, my favorite graphic novels. I've been nominating all these books for the Nerdy Book Club Awards. Well, some of these books that I have here fit into other categories in the Nerdy Book Club Awards, and I didn't really have enough to make a video for them. So I'm just gonna nominate a couple books in a couple different categories, and I wanna talk to you about those books now. So first up, I have two favorite middle grade, young adult nonfiction. So some longer nonfiction texts that weren't picture books. And I love these books, two of my favorite books of the entire year. The first one, The Mona Lisa Vanishes by Nicholas Day. I knew like nothing about the Mona Lisa, really, except for that Da Vinci painted it. And I know what it looks like. I had no idea it was stolen. I had no idea that it wasn't super famous until it was stolen. I never thought about the person of Mona Lisa. I never thought about the person of Da Vinci. Holy smokes, this book weaves the theft of the Mona Lisa with the investigation trying to find it, with Mona Lisa's story, with Da Vinci's story, and it's like this beautiful web of awesomeness. I couldn't stop turning pages of this book. Readers, oh my gosh, readers, you need to check out this book. It just floored me. And I don't love middle grade nonfiction. It's not necessarily my jam. I loved this book. Next up, a young adult nonfiction book, one of the most important books of the year. Accountable by Dashka Slater, the true story of a racist social media account and the teenagers whose lives it changed. True story about the social media account of a school, this racist account that was started, and the kids who were following it and liking the post, and just the way it wrecked this community. Wow. I can't imagine the research that went into this book and the interviews that she did. She gets so many different points of view on this story. It was really one of the most comprehensive looks that I've ever seen at the impact in a negative way that social media can have on a community. And I think everyone that works with kids or has kids or knows a kid who has a cell phone needs to check out this book. The way that the world is different than when we were growing up is just bonkers. And I think that kids would really gain a tremendous, like high school kids would just really feel seen in this book, with what it's like to try to grow up today's world. And also I think that it will help them to navigate their online presence a little bit differently. Next up, a work in progress, one of my favorite, all these, my favorite books of the year. That's why they're on this list. So Work in Progress, Jared Lerner's middle grade illustrated novel in verse, takes a look at Nick Fisher and what it's like for him to grow up, and how some kids calling him fat changes his life and really makes things difficult for him. Holy, powerful, blown away by this book. Honestly, you need to read this book. It's such a, the way that it's designed is so inviting, and it really invites you into just this beautiful story, heartbreaking story, what it was like, what's it like for this kid. And it's kind of like loosely based on what it was like for Jared Lerner to grow up. Please purchase this book. If you teach like 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th graders, read this book yourself. You'll see the power it has. You'll see what it can do for young readers. Holy smokes. Next up, an early reader, Lincoln Hud. I love books that are for like those kids who aren't maybe quite ready for middle grade, but they still pack a punch and tell a great story. One thing that I love about Lincoln Hud is you have this hybrid feel where their like imagination is told in comics, and then the other parts of the book are told in like an illustrated novel technique. Lincoln Hud always get into trouble. They get this babysitter, and holy smokes, they think they're just gonna run the show like they have with other babysitters. Doesn't really work out that way. Parents got this business going, it's not going so well. through like Lincoln HUD and the babysitter and the things that are going on. Maybe some good things happen. It was just a really fun read. I've actually read it 2 times. I enjoyed it so much. Read it at the beginning of the year and towards the end of the year. And then The Skull by John Clausen. I'll also nominate this for chapter book section, or early reader section, Nerdy Book Awards. This is my favorite book of the year. I think this is the best book of the year. I think this is unlike anything I've ever read before. It's wild, it's dark, but also like accessible to like younger readers. And like what this kid does and the skull, what happens in it, it's just so weird in the best way. I've read this book 6 times, including aloud to myself. So if you haven't read this is a book I just like. When kids are reading it, I just want to like hover over them and like talk to them. As soon as they read it, I just like have a million questions and I want to know exactly what they thought and what they felt. And yeah, so check out The Skull. It's phenomenal. Check out all of these books. I'm so excited to nominate them for long form nonfiction, poetry, early readers, and chapter books. So those are 5 amazing books that you should add to your to-read list. I'll put some other awesome books, videos of my other favorite books over here, so you can check out those videos and hopefully find some books that will help your readers fall even more in love with reading. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Colby Sharp. Hope you have an awesome-tastic day.